that about the ownership, that if you look at the power, structure, the agreement gives E&P, it doesn't look like what E&P is seeking to do is what the agreement is about. But when you look into the agreement, from the very beginning, from the conditions precedent, you will read that the agreement gives E&P absolute control. Let me correct? The agreement. Yeah. So that it gives them absolute control.
We are not speaking
in no uncertain terms.
So the agreement, you said which part of the agreement?
I'll refer the specific portion to you as we discuss. Okay. But I want is to know, that or is that not the case?
No, that's not true, because when you look at the interpretation sections of the agreement, it's very clear that the intent of the parties is to pay a consideration that clears existing liabilities and going forward to raise financing to develop the mine. And the vesting schedule of the shares in E&P is tied to the EPC contract, which is fundamental to the agreement. In fact, the EPC contract is so fundamental that without entry to the EPC agreement, you cannot have an agreement of this nature consummated. So when you go into the agreement, the background,
if you look at 2.3.2, it says that E&P shall have the exclusive right.
2.2.
Yes, 2.3.2.
Completion of sites, civil and earthworks.
Yes, that's stage 2. That's stage 2.
I mean, is it section 2.2?
Yes.
Okay, and then stage 2.2.
No, I'm at 2.3.
2.3.
Yes, that's stage 2, which is project financing and completion.
Okay, but you are jumping a whole set of things.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It says that
2.3.
E&P shall have the exclusive right to procure or provide the necessary project finance.
No, I have stage 2, project financing and completion of project construction. So 2.1.
Exactly.
So the parties acknowledge that the development of the Blackwater project.
That's correct. So I'm referring to 2.3.2. Right. Subject to clause 2.3.7, prior to 30 June 2024, E&P shall have...
Which clause you are referring to?
So that's the clause I'm referring to. 2.3.2.
Okay. Subject to clause 2.3.7, prior to 30th June 2024,
right, E&P
shall have the exclusive right to procure or provide the necessary project finance. Essentially, it's your duty. That's what it's saying. When it comes to finding money for the mine, it's your duty. You are exclusively responsible.
Yes.
Okay.
For end, I think here they wanted to write end, and they made an error by saying an.
Shall have the exclusive right to procure or provide the necessary project finance for and on behalf of Azuma Ghana. So the money is coming for the Blackwater project. That's very important. The money is coming for Azuma Ghana, and you are doing it on behalf of Azuma Ghana. Okay.
Right.
And then either by way of equity or debt financing. So that's a very important point. Of Azuma Ghana, or by way of equity or debt financing of E&P, with E&P investing such financing in Azuma Ghana as equity but not as debt.
Right.
That is fundamental. You are not allowed to do anything except the money comes to Azuma. And when the money comes to Azuma, if it comes through you, you must invest it as equity. If it's coming directly as debt, it must come into Azuma. That is so fundamental that if you ignore that and you go around and whatever, you are just wasting your time.
Right.
So if they want to change that mechanism so that now it's assumed E&P has to go and raise money and buy, then the price will change.
How do you reconcile that with background?
Yes, okay.
In F, it says, in consideration for the payment of the $100 million US, IGIC, ARA, that's Azuma Australia, and Cango have agreed for E&P to acquire all their respective interests,
debt and equity,
in the companies which own the projects
on the terms set out in the agreement. So the $100 million consideration gives you a right. It's almost optionality. It's an option. It's an embedded option. You get the $100 million, you pay it. Now you are in the game.
You acquire all their respective interests, debt
on
and
the
equity.
terms set by this agreement. So how you acquire it, you pay the 100 million, and then how you acquire all your interests set out in the agreement is now specified very clearly, as you've read. It's specified as to what stage we shall issue shares to you. So if you go to 2.2,
Yeah, 2.3. Yeah.
it says the stage 1 shares shall be issued to EMP by Azuma Ghana as follows. 1/3 of the estimated number of stage 1 shares shall be issued to EMP when DRA Global have certified to the project board, which is controlled by Azuma, remember that, to the project board that 1/3 of the site civil and earthworks of value, because they want to tie everything, so you don't go and do something and then you come back and say, have been completed.
Right.
So you only get that when so and so happens. If they wanted to simply take 100 million and walk away, they will not tie you to get 1/3 of the shares when you do the value. So the way it has happened is that there are some issue shares, which is valued at a certain amount with debt and equity. Then as the mine grows in value, because you are building a mine. Remember this now, there's no mine. So they're just deposits. So you build a mine that can now dig out the gold, process the gold, and export the gold. When you've done that, the value of the company goes up again, and then you get 1/3.
Thank you. Let me go to my next question.
Let me explain for people to understand very well. Say you pay 100 million, then you spend 60 million further to do 1/3 of the civil works. All of a sudden, the company's value, this being just very naive, the company's value has now gone up to a certain percentage, right? Let's say it's gone up to 200 million. Now you own 1/3 of 200 million. So you've earned almost 70 million now of the shares of the company. You need to understand the agreement you signed, is the point I'm trying to make.
Right.
And the nature of the agreement is that it's a vesting schedule. You do some work, you get your shares.
I get
it's
that.
not buy 100 million and walk away.
I get that explanation to my question.
Very good.
Now, the next point I get you to is 2.2.1.2.
Okay.
In your presentation, I didn't hear you suggest that. I heard you talk about they are funding civil works and all. But here, you see that from 1st of October 2023, EMP is supposed to fund all exploration. So it is not as if this is cooked and they are seeking to take over, but they are funding all exploration.
So we just have to start, where did the project start? In the 90s. How many resources were there? How much gold was there? 200 and something thousand resources indicated and inferred. Simply meaning that we think that's the amount of gold there. Proven reserves at that time, maybe 120,000. By the time this company that we are talking about, Ebara, showed up, the reserves, the proven reserves was about 600,000 ounces. So somebody else had grown the resource base by 5 times. Then they come in 2017 and they continue. By the time EMP comes in 2023, how much gold had been found? Over 1.8 million. So they are taking it from around 600,000 to 1.8 million. So they have tripled it. Since EMP came in, what reserves have they defined? 0. Because they haven't done the work they were supposed to do. Ask Mr. Banson, who you are communicating with, to send you the defined resource based on their exploration since they came in. 0. So all the value in the company, the way we're marking is very simple. Is you have a ground line there. There's some gold somewhere around. You dig. Once you've dug out the gold and you made all these holes and the rest, you kind of try and calculate what is the grade. You determine a cut-off grade. By determining the cut-off grade, you look and start to determine what the recoverable reserves, how much of the gold you can get out. And then that's how you start to define your reserves. But you start off with the indicator resources that you think is there.
Okay.
Now my argument is, the company, the time the 2023 EMP came in, the company had defined all the reserves that is driving the value of the asset. I'm not saying that EMP is not going to add value. It's going to add tremendous value by building the mine. The problem with the investors have is that is the part that EMP doesn't seem to be focused on. But the only value they can add now is the $200 million or so investment that builds the mine. Not paying them $100 million to say walk away. It's like, no, come and add value.
Okay.
And if you do and you add value, the mine is now built. The value of the company goes tremendous. I've seen that in their company. They suggest that the value of the company was about 80 million.
That's right.
How can it be 80 million when the inferred, the reserve, the proven reserves at that time was over 1.6 million ounces? But how can it be? Because
thank you. I needed to move on here.
You just have to do a discounted cash flow analysis to see that the company was worth way more.
I needed to move on here, and because you mentioned Bobby Banson, Bobby actually did send me a question.